Hello, hello. Hi guys. Sorry, I'm like a minute late. I'm very, very sorry about that. But I am here. Hi, welcome. Hopefully you can all see and hear me. Don't forget to leave a message in the chat. Hi, Kim. Hi, Katya. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Ashioma. That's a very unusual name. Joni, Amy, hi. Hi, Susan. Nice to see you. Where are some faces, please, people? Let's see some faces. More faces. I only see Susan up here. There's Katya. There's Rose. Hi. Cool. Thank you so much. Kelly Baker, welcome. Amy, welcome. Okay, cool. So hopefully you can all see and hear me okay. Calgary, Canada. Welcome. I don't think we've seen you on a call here before. Nice to see you, my darling. Okay, I got a dog yesterday, by the way. This is my dog. Bella. She's not listening, see? Well trained. She's over there now. Okay, so it's good to see you guys. As usual, oh, hi from Leipzig. Hi to Leipzig, Germany. How's things going over there? Oh my God, how's Corona everywhere? It's really hard to put into words, like, because we had this call last month. Hi Deborah, welcome. We had this call last month, and Sam and Stephanie. And basically it was kind of like just at the beginning stages of what Corona was. Oh look, someone's sharing their screen. Please don't do that. Hang on a second. How do we stop this, Joe? Joni, now we can see like your entire world. I like this. Okay, I don't know how we're going to fix this. 1 second. Joe, oh, thank you. Do you know, this was like one of those videos that was going viral around Facebook, where that people were doing a Zoom call and somebody was standing there naked and didn't realize that their camera was on. I just had a moment like that. Thank God Joni wasn't naked. Okay, so crazy, been shopping with my mask today. Yeah, is everyone locking down? I guess people are. To me, it's crazy. Like, I live in El Gouna in Egypt, on the Red Sea. So like in El Gouna, which is kind of like a gated community, they're really quite strict on their rules and how many people go into the supermarket and the social distancing and the lining up outside and the hand sanitizer. You know, everyone's doing it. And then you go out into Hurghada and it's a completely different story, which is kind of like more of the local areas and things like that. Nobody's doing social distancing. I saw a woman today, she was wearing like a mask and gloves, and then she saw someone in the street and then just went over and hugged her. And I'm like, why are you wearing a mask and gloves? Like, and then you just go and hug people. It's a little bit counterproductive. Anyway, I hope you guys are staying safe and staying well wherever you are in the world. We're kind of I'm feeling like we're all in the same boat here. We're all singing the same tune right now. So what I wanted to do is I took a real sort of look at where we were from the last call to this call and what's kind of been happening in the world, and then thinking to myself, you know, like, how best can I sort of look at this? And one thing I did come up with is this kind of reason why people in the virtual workforce really should start thinking about their next move. I don't think that the people in the virtual workforce should be just sitting there thinking to themselves, okay, well, schools are going to open in 2 weeks, so everything will be fine. Or, you know, like, this is going to open and this is going to be fine. I don't think it's going to happen. And for sure, if it's happening in some countries, which I see now, Spain are starting to ease the restrictions. Italy is starting to ease the restrictions. I mean, they say that they've come through the worst of it right now. There are loads of places right now looking at easing restrictions. But I think my opinion, the only reason why things have been reducing in terms of cases and deaths and things like that is because everyone has been staying home. So what you're doing, I think, is just releasing another wave of this. So for me, when people start talking about reopening, I'm starting to think, okay, well, we're just going to see this again and people are going to go back in lockdown again. And I put together some, like, you know, all the stuff I've been researching over the last, I would say over the last month or so, all the really key points about why we should act now. And then we're going to talk about what we can do next, because this has kind of been on my mind a lot. So I hope you guys will stick around with me just while I do. It's a really super quick presentation. I'm also fasting right now for Ramadan, so I've got a lot going on. It means like I haven't had any food or drink today, not even a glass of water. So my throat's really like scratchy, but hopefully I'll get through this. Guys, feel free to leave anything in the chat if you want to contribute or talk about this case, you know, like this coronavirus stuff. Please do feel free to speak openly about it and share your thoughts and what's going on with you. First of all, I just want to share this little presentation that I put together. And I called it Why We Need to Act, because I think now is the time. And I always said this, I said, if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to do it towards the end of April, beginning of May, because I think people would have come through that period of like, there's like a period of sort of shock and like a surreal thing, like it's all a novelty, to realizing that we could be stuck in our homes for a lot longer than we are being potentially told that we can, because obviously they don't want to cause like this global panic of, you know, like the panic buying, you know, like that we saw in parts of America and England, you know, like the toilet rolls just flying off the shelves and things like that. I think they're trying to restrict that. So they're being a little modest during this last month. And I think now some of the leaders in the world are starting to realize, actually, we've got to tell the truth about this, and we've got to actually kind of give people something to work with. So this is why we need to act. And then, like I said, afterwards, I'm going to talk about what we can potentially do. So the reason why we need to act is, first of all, from what I've seen, and again, I'm getting this from the news, and the news isn't always the most reliable source. And I've also been preaching for more than a decade for people not to watch the news, but I've had to because it's kind of part of my work now. But there is absolutely no evidence right now that we're going to become immune to this virus. And this virus is like a coming, going thing, apparently. So if there is no evidence that we'll ever become immune to this virus, or that there is immunity after you've had it, then that potentially means that we can reinfect or get it again, or reinfect other people again. So we're kind of in this vicious cycle. Then there is the 30% false negative test. So people test negative when they actually have coronavirus. So again, this is coming from the news, and this is the only source of information I have to work on. But a survey by Chinese doctors in February looking at samples from 213 patients suggested a false negative rate of 30%. So basically you can be tested and tested and tested, and maybe you won't get a positive test until like the third or fourth test or something like that. So again, it's like this testing is not, there's no certainty in this testing. So again, that's another unknown. It's another thing that we can say we're not quite sure about with this virus, with the numbers and things. Then this disease is not going to be eradicated. It is not going to disappear. This was a quote from a piece of media. When asked when a lockdown imposed on March 23rd might be lifted, this is the UK, this disease is not going to be eradicated, is not going to disappear. So what we're saying is like, we've got to learn to live with this. So that was a big thing for me, is like, we cannot think, oh, just wait it out for a couple of months and everything will go back to normal. No, to me, that says we have to learn to live with this. So the UK will have to maintain some form of social distancing until a vaccine or effective treatment for COVID-19 are developed, both of which are unlikely this year, he said. Standing alongside Dominic Raab, who is deputising for Johnson when Boris Johnson had coronavirus, and then he had a bit of a break in his home in England in Chequers. As the Prime Minister recovers from coronavirus, Whitty also said the number of coronavirus deaths will not drop sharply, even though the curve of transmission is flattening. And again, it says here that it's a stark assessment contrast with a mood of optimism running through the daily government briefings in recent days. It's basically saying, hang on, we've got to kind of look at this and be realistic about it. So a lot of people are saying it's not going to disappear. It's now being found in animals. So on the last call, we were at a position where they were saying it couldn't be transmitted through animals. And now it's been found not only in zoo animals, but also in domestic animals, I think it's dogs. Dogs and cats have now been found coronavirus in their systems. So again, what does that mean? Are we just going to be seeing did they die? Are we going to be seeing dead cats around? Does it mean, people have to research this. Can we give it to animals, or animals giving it to us? So again, this is another reason. It's just like, this is not going away. Even Nicola Sturgeon, who is, something just popped up on my screen. Nicola Sturgeon, who is from Scotland, who's like the kind of leader of Scotland. She said lockdown measures could last beyond the end of the year. Beyond the end of the year. So we're only in April right now, people. So what are people going to do until the end of the year and beyond? We've got to find a way of working. We've got to find something to do. And we've got to also help other people find things to do. The people that are being laid off, the unemployment is rife right now. We are uniquely placed to help these people to start new businesses online, to transition their businesses online. And there's so much that we can do. They're saying it could take 5 years to bring a vaccine to market. So a lot of people are saying 18 months, 12 months, 3 years. It can take up to 5 years to actually get a vaccine to market. And that's not even a case of even being able to find a vaccine for this. It's about being able to manufacture it. It's about being able to get to the incredible numbers of vaccines that are going to need to be created in order to stop this spreading throughout the world. Then they're saying this endemic infection is for years to come or permanently. So they're saying even now, this virus may never go away. We could be living with this for the rest of our lives. So Dr. Jeremy Farrar, a member of the UK government's Scientific Advisory Group for Emergencies, told reporters at a media briefing on Wednesday, I believe this is now an endemic human infection, which will continue to circulate in human populations for many, many years to come, if not permanently. So again, this is like something, it's like, I think for sure, I'm not ruling out the miracle effect of like some miracle could happen and this could all go away. I even read somewhere that somebody even wrote a book. Let me see if I can even find it on here. Somebody actually wrote a book. I think it was the year I was born, in 1981. And they actually predicted this virus in a book, even though it was a fictional book. And there was something very interesting that it also said in there. Let me just read this for you. I don't even know if I've still got it. Oh, there it is. So it said in this book, I think it was called something like The Darkest Day or something like that. In around 2020, a severe pneumonia-like illness will spread throughout the globe, attacking the lungs and the bronchial tubes and resisting all known treatments. Almost more baffling than the illness itself will be the fact that it will suddenly vanish as quickly as it arrived, attack again in 10 years later, and then disappear completely. That was written in a fictional book in 1981. So that's like 39 years ago. So I'm not ruling out the fact that this could potentially just be some sort of miracle and disappear off the face of the planet. But I think we also have to think about, well, can we really rely on that? And I would rather rely on taking some action and starting to consider this life that we are now living as the life of the foreseeable future and what we're going to do about that. So I've got, oh, it's just so cheerful, isn't it? This call. Everyone is so oh, happy. Okay, more news. It has now been detected in airborne pollution. So they have actually found, okay, I'll read it. Coronavirus has been detected on particles of air pollution by scientists, looking into whether the illness could be carried this way over long distances and potentially increase the infection rate. So again, it's like people are doing tests on these outdoor air pollutions in northern regions of Italy and Europe, and we're going to try and figure out now whether this can actually be just been transmitted in air pollution. And then this guy made a very good point. We have to have, as a population, the same discussions about not just how we're going to die with this virus, because that's kind of what's being discussed right now, but how we're going to live with it for the next 16 or 18 months. And I agree entirely. We need to start thinking about how people can start businesses, continue businesses, run businesses, do business in this new world with this virus as part of that everyday life. So that they're saying this is not a battle, this is a war. I really don't like that terminology, but I wanted to use that as an example of people saying, like, we have to figure out how to live with this now, and not just kind of like sit back and wait. And they're even saying that even if people have coronavirus and they recover from coronavirus, it means that they can't potentially return back to work afterwards. Again, this is because we don't know if people are going to be immune. We don't know if people are going to get it again. But that's according to the World Health Organization. Also, again, this is a big one, and I'm particularly experiencing this here in Egypt, but numbers around the world aren't accurate, not even remotely. So many countries, particularly those third world countries, they don't have the proper coronavirus testing. So the numbers are significantly lower. What you see on the readings, on the world readings, I don't know if you guys have this link. I think I shared it in the last session, but I'm going to share it again now. I'm just going to open up the chat here. So Worldometer's coronavirus. So what you're seeing is a lot of the third world countries where they have the most social undistancing are coming out with the lowest numbers because they're just not doing the numbers of tests like the other countries. So it's like really a little bit misleading in some countries, particularly in Africa. They're saying that Africa, where I am now, not necessarily in Egypt, particularly in the South Africa, it could be one of the worst hit places in the entire world, more than America. But the reason we're not seeing that right now is because we don't have the testing. And also a lot of people in these countries cannot afford to go to the hospitals. They cannot afford to leave their home. They cannot afford to get treatment. So they're literally just dying in their homes without ever being reported with coronavirus, which is a really sad thing. I also read somewhere, oh no, it wasn't I wouldn't read it, I saw it on the news again. You know, again, I don't know if these are reliable sources, but it's all we've got to go on right now, is that they're saying that the people in England, if you look at the deaths in England, they have 80 ventilators per 1 million people in England. But in these third world countries, they can be as little as 3 or 4 per million. And some places, they were also saying, like, I mean, that is mind-blowing to think about the number of deaths that are occurring in England when you've got 80 ventilators per million. What is a country going to do with only 3 or 4 ventilators per million? Like, we're stuffed, totally stuffed. So it's really sobering thought about this lack of proper testing, the lack of ventilators. But there's this place called, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Gaias, I think it's near Ecuador. With 2/3 of registered cases, health authorities were overrun in March and April due to a big surge in fatalities, leaving some families with no other recourse but to drop bodies of the deceased in the streets. Shocking. Officially, the death toll nationwide is 570. However, the rush to test living means that these are only deaths confirmed by COVID-19 patients. People who have gone to the hospital, been tested and died in hospital. So in Gaias, the number of deaths in the first half of April was 6,700 compared with just 1,000 in a normal 2-week period. Not only that, They're also saying, for example, in England as well, the figures aren't accurate because they're not taking into consideration the people in the nursing homes that have been dying. So once they do that, if they do actually publish those figures, you know, then the deaths in England is going to be crazy. And then there's reinfection after months or years is very common with coronaviruses. So basically they're looking at herd immunity, and one is whether researchers can develop a safe and effective vaccine. Another is how long people who've recovered have immunity, reinfection, or other months or years in common with other human coronaviruses. And finally, it's not clear what percentage of people must be immune to protect the herd. That depends on the contagiousness of the virus. So again, very, very unknown entities with this virus. So yeah, for sure, one unknown entity could just disappear overnight, but the other unknown entity is it's showing us constantly that the virus is mutating, it's changing, we're discovering more about it, about how it travels, about where it can go to, the animals, the pollution. It's like, I don't think we should sit and wait. So what can we do about this? I've decided to put together a 2-day workshop. So basically, I'm going to put all my thoughts about, I'm kind of doing a bit of a Boris Johnson or a, you know, definitely not a Donald Trump, but like, you know, like when you're trying to put together a plan for something that is completely unknown, but all you're doing is drawing on your past experience to try and somehow come up with the best possible solution based on what you know. And that's kind of what I've decided to do in this 2-day workshop. That's why I've called it the theory of how to thrive in business during COVID-19. Because the fact is, none of us have ever been through this in our lifetimes. I mean, for sure, we've had wars, we've had periods of time, we've gone through mild kind of cases. I suppose the worst one was Spanish flu. But anyway, nobody in our digital age, in our digital line of work, in our modern day life has ever been through anything like this. So no matter what anyone says, and I've heard some people sort of starting to really push the online business model, which of course is a very good thing, maybe the right way to go, but nobody actually knows for certain whether it's going to work in this particular climate. That's like taking a cactus and seeing if it'll grow in the snow. I mean, has anyone tried it? I don't know. But what we can do is try and put the conditions together that will help it to grow. So I'm doing a free 2-day workshop called The Theory of How to Thrive in Business During COVID-19. And it's on May 7th and May 8th. And we're going to be doing 4 sessions over the 2 days. So the first session will be on the 5 new types of potential clients that I've kind of drafted out as part of this whole situation, who like the new corona potential clients. So we've got 5 new types of potential clients. We're going to be discussing that in the first session at 4:30 p.m. on the 7th. Then at 7:30 p.m. on the 7th, we're going to be looking at how to prepare for working in COVID-19. So again, these are all things that I'm doing for myself and wanting to share and trying to like, where am I going to start growing business now? I've lost clients too because of Corona. So we're all in the same boat, and now we have to make a plan. We have to make a plan, and I want to share my plan with you. So how to prepare working in COVID-19. Then on May 8th at 4:30 p.m. and this is my time, by the way. So right now it's 5:55 p.m. here where I am. So at 4:30 p.m. here, which is like 3:30 p.m. in the UK, we're going to do the free service that will make you money. So I've come up with a free service that you can start offering people that will lead to business and hopefully make money from there. Not just for you, but also for the client. This is hopefully this is going to help the economy to lift up a little bit online, of course. And then on May 8th at 7:30 p.m. my time, 6:30 p.m. UK time, we're going to be looking at how to generate new business in this new environment, in this new world. I feel like this is the way to go now. I feel like for sure we should be making the changes necessary in our business to start really thinking about how we're going to adapt now. Like, I don't mean to sound scary, but there's massive changes that need to be made, in my opinion, from what I've seen. Massive. So I want to share with you what I think those changes need to be and how I'm going to adapt my business around those, and how you can potentially take that information on board, potentially do it as well. It's entirely up to you what you do with it, but it's well worth coming and hanging out and listening. And like I say, I called it theory because I've got no guarantees, but I have a pretty good idea after 15 years of working online and also bringing my business through a pretty bad recession in 2008. I was able to grow my business during that recession. So I've kind of been through bad times and good times. Never this bad, believe me, but we can all draw on this experience and hopefully do the best, just like everyone is doing, just like the government are doing in every single country. All they're doing is looking at what they can find and what they know, and then theorizing based on their experience. So you can sign up for free for this at virtualmissfriday.com/COVID. And you can get full details available to you on everything that you're going to have and get during those sessions on the other side. The link to how you join those live sessions, and you'll also be able to bookmark that page because we're also going to be uploading the replays as well after the sessions. So virtualmissfriday.com/COVID. Thank you, Megan, for putting that in the chat. So I'm going to stop sharing that rather depressing presentation right there. And let me just look in the chat to see what we've got here. Somebody is off mute. Who is that? Oh, here we are. I found it. Okay, so, oh, Megan's posted, as a music fan, Michelle and I coordinated a friend of mine to put on an online concert on Facebook tomorrow. It's totally free to attend, and all you need to do is join the event and show up. There is the link. I hope you can join us. Yeah, so we decided to do a music event, and Megan's just shared that, and also it's starting tomorrow. Oh my god, that came around so quick. I think that was the whole having the baby thing and the blur just happening there. But we're going to be doing that, so please join that, and also we'll post that as well through the groups and everything through social media as well. The author of that book was a man. Do you know what I'm going to find? Are we talking about the book of where that passage was for the 2020?
It was Dean Keats, I think.
Yes, Dean. It was a guy called Dean Keats. Yeah,
Keats, I think.
Keats. Yeah.
Keats.
I can't remember the exact name of the book, but I did send that passage to someone, so I might be able to pull it up. No, I can't see it. Oh wait, maybe I can find it in this way. No. But if anyone, it's called The Darkness of Something, the name of the book. Do you know it, Karen?
I'll have a quick look now. I recall it. Hold on.
But it's really spooky. And the author has actually come forward and said that was not a prediction whatsoever, you know, like it was a fictitious story. But it was incredibly eerie to hear that in a fictitious story, which predicted it. Yeah, they're saying a lot of people like Nostradamus-y type people also predicted it in very ancient old poems and things like that. Megan's just posted another one. What's this? Tommy Thompson. Nation did not heed 2005 pandemic warning. Yeah, I know there is also a lot going on about how there was all these warnings that this was going to come and people were ignoring them. Sorry to say, but I think Trump was definitely one who completely just ignored it and was like, yeah, it's going to be fine, don't worry. Dean Koon's The Eye of Darkness. Yeah, that was it. Again, a fictitious story, but very eerie that was predicted for 2020. And in that book, it does say it's just going to miraculously disappear as quick as it came. I'm not so sure myself. But again, whatever action you take has got to be based on what you feel is best. But I would definitely say to you guys, if you can, sign up for the 2-day workshop and attend if you can, or if you can't attend, watch the replays, because that's my game plan. I'm going to be sharing on 7th and 8th my game plan of what's going to happen next. Somebody has sent me a private message. Okay, I don't have any skills, but I want to work as a VA. How can you help me? I shut down my day home due to COVID-19. I lost everything. Oh my gosh. Because I was living paycheck to paycheck, hardly any money. I have 3 kids. I have 3 kids too, sweetheart. Okay, the best thing you can do, if anyone is suffering and struggling, believe me, I totally get it. I cannot imagine how many people right now must be feeling so thankful that they have a little bit of rainy day money set aside, or a little bit of savings set aside, because this just hit out of nowhere. There was like nothing to prepare you for it. And now, like, anyone who was like thinking of like starting that business, who got laid off, they're going to also be having these same thoughts. Like, I've got to do something. I need help. What am I going to do? I would say the first step is just to attend this workshop on the 7th and 8th, because we're really just going to be talking about not just only about these specific things, but like, where is everyone now? What are we going to do next? What are people's specific situations? How does this line up with them? And how is this not going to work with them, and things like that? If you come to me and then say, no, Michelle, like, that definitely won't work for me because of this, this, and this, you know, that's another challenge for me to say, okay, well, what will I do in that situation? I really want to be challenged over these 2 days. So anybody with these struggles now about, what do I do? I want to work as a VA. I've got laid off. I've got these kids. I've got no money. You are not alone. There are many, many people out there in exactly the same boat as you. So now we need to figure out how we're going to kick ass during this time. And it's not easy, believe me. It's not. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say, oh yeah, it's just going to be fine because working online is just the same as it was before. No, technically it's the same. Like, nothing's changed in terms of the technicalities, but how we approach the business, how we do the business, what we charge for the business, how we put together our pricing, how we go about figuring out our goals even for the business. Like, for me, I've had to completely change my goals for the business, all because of this stupid little bug that is just changed everybody's lives. So we have to come together and we have to figure out a plan, use our experience, use our noggins, try to figure out what we're going to do to help people. So my darling, if you're struggling, if you need help, if anybody here is struggling and needs help, come to those sessions. If you also want to write to me in advance, you've got a few days now between the time that it starts on the 7th. So write to me in advance and say what you're really struggling with. Maybe there is a way I can work that in to the content and what I've put together and what I'm going to be teaching. But if there is any other curveballs you want to throw at me, throw them at me now so I can potentially work it into that workshop. So those sessions are going to be over the 7th and the 8th. They're going to be about an hour each. So it's about 4 hours of workshop. And again, it's like, don't feel like you formally have to turn up, even if you just put your, if you come and join and you've got kids in the background, or, you know, like, mute yourself. Don't worry about that. Just show up as best you can. Even if, you know, go off and make yourself tea and stuff like that, it's fine. Katya signed up. Thank you, Katya. Karen signed up. Cool. Yeah. So I really want to go deep on those 2 days about the future, our future as online workers, as an online family. You know, it's like, we've got to take care of each other at this stage. We always have to take care of each other, but now more than ever. And I think we are all, depending on our experience, of course, but we are all uniquely placed, so whether you have some skills working online, to be able to start looking at helping other people. And I'm hoping that in that workshop, I'm going to be giving you some tools even if you've not got the experience of consulting and things like that, some tools that you can potentially go and use and offer to clients that are going to help them start to think about their business. Whether we start doing this thing like the less experienced people can start bringing in referrals to the more experienced people, however it's going to work, we all need each other to be functioning in this role, in this kind of role now. So Laura Sells said, I'll be interested in pitching your services during the pandemic. I know cost is the biggest issue now, so really conveying them that you have a service they need. When I say your, I mean mine. Yes, I understand. Yes, it's absolutely like that. I'm going to be sharing with you my thoughts on positioning on pricing on the 7th and the 8th. I'm going to be sharing with you my thoughts about how you actually convey, not pitching, selling, however you want to put it, convey the benefits of why people should be hiring right now. Because right now, everyone's in that protection mode. No one's in the abundance mode right now. Everyone's in the protection mode. I've got to protect my savings. I can't spend any money. I'm only going to go to the supermarket once a week and spend my money on food. That is only going to last so long. So what we have to do is think about all the benefits and all the consequences as well if people don't start investing in their businesses and don't start moving forward and don't start building now. What are the consequences of that in 3 months, 6 months, a year's time? You know, so there's a lot we can draw on, of really good points, like persuasion points, not to persuade someone to part with their money when it's the wrong thing, but to really part with their money when it's the right thing to do in this climate, which is so uncertain. So yes, I'm going to be covering those topics and more inside that workshop. So definitely I'm going to be covering pitching during Corona as well, because really we're in a different time now, and you can either feel sorry for yourself or do something about it. It's kind of like, and I've been through both, actually. I've been through both. Deborah says, I will be coming to this from another world, massage therapy, but I have a business network. Do you have any tips on pivoting and utilizing contacts I may already have? Yes, actually this workshop, for sure, it's going to be aimed at how VAs can help people like you who are not in the VA world, in the more like offline world. You are one of the 5 types of clients that I'm going to be discussing, actually, Deborah. So it's good if you show up, because you're going to be one of my examples, one of my guinea pigs, I suppose. And it would be great to get your input of how you think we should be approaching this as well. But there are many things that you can do in transitioning from something which is physical into something which is virtual. Whether that, you know, one of the very obvious ones is starting to create courses, teaching massage therapy online. It could also be potentially teaching massage therapists on how to still work with patients who, like, for example, sometimes massage therapy is a health, a health service, I guess. You know, a service that people use for medical conditions and things like that. So there could be another potential avenue there that we could be looking at, working with healthcare providers, doing online consultations, it could be many, many things. These are just things coming off the top of my head right now, but there is going to be a whole section in the workshop centered around people with offline businesses who are transitioning online, what they could potentially do, and how VAs can potentially help them. So you'll get it from both sides. So definitely, we'll also be discussing how to generate, there is the last session, which is going to be how to generate new business. And I'm going to be talking about utilizing contacts in that section as well. So I should be able to cover everything, everything from your comment there. So how are we doing? Does anybody have any other questions or anything they want to throw at me right now? Any concerns that they're having? You may be able to move from massage to more of a VA focus. Again, you know, this is something that was happening already before coronavirus. A lot of people who were doing these physical jobs were looking to then transition into the online world for whatever reason, because they wanted to travel more, because they wanted to be at home with their children. And always we were helping people with this through the power of the digital business world, by saying, okay, well, one of the first transitions that you can make as a VA is to start thinking about how am I going to help other massage therapists, because you know the business, you know what's involved. You start putting together and piecing together a service which involves online appointment bookings, putting together websites, helping them with their social media. You know, there's a whole plethora of things that you can do for an offline business. And there's a whole section of that as well where you can start transitioning that business into online. It won't be the same, it's going to morph. Obviously, there's no way I can tell someone how to cut someone's hair through a computer screen, someone on the other side of the world. That's like, God, if I could, I'd be a billionaire. But I can't do that, not yet anyway. Who knows, maybe one day. But for now, we have to think about, well, what can we do? And you need one of those open, creative minds in order to do that. So sitting worrying about coronavirus and how it's affecting you is one way of going about it, and starting to think about how you can use this time now to be creative and start thinking about ways of how to take offline businesses more online and still have it being a viable investment for the client. That's the challenge. That's the real thing, because we can teach people how to take things online, and it's fairly simple, really. It's not that difficult. But I mean, the theory behind it all, but then having to do it when we're having to potentially really show people why it's a good investment right now is difficult. But you know, right now there's a lot of people who are struggling at home, like myself, like 3 children, homeschooling, 3 different grade levels, still trying to run the business. I've cancelled my cleaners for social distancing. So now I'm also like got this massive 3-bedroom house that I have to clean top to bottom pretty much every day because the sand comes in the windows. So it's like everyone, and there's a lot of people right now in that same boat. So how are we going to help those people? You know, do we need to start thinking about how we're going to take burden and pressure off the homeschooling element, or you know, how to take a burden and pressure off maybe ordering shopping online ordering, how are we going to, you know, like for groceries and things like that. Other things that we consider, how we're going to help them with their businesses to give them more time to homeschool. You know, otherwise we're gonna see this massive burnout. You know, I mean, that's the biggest picture I can think of right now, is that, you know, we're all struggling at home 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we've got all these responsibilities now that we didn't have before because we were using other people. Now we can't use other people in the same way, so now we have to utilize digital people with whatever potential that they have to help you. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to be really pulling this apart to get to the real like details of how we can actually help people through the internet and through our computers. Deborah said that helps. Thanks, Deborah. Okay, so I don't think it can be oversupplied. It just depends on the sector and who you're working with. I lost one client because she works with restaurants, but I still have another client because their online courses are booming. Exactly. So one of our potential clients obviously is the people transitioning into online business or doing online business right now. Jeff Walker is even one guy. He's doing the launch courses, product launch formula, and he said he's seen a spike in sales. So we need to be looking at these. Like I'm constantly looking at what are people doing right now. What if people are still spending money on Facebook ads? What are they pitching right now? You know, like we have to be thinking about these things to come up with these ideas for our clients. So I think there are some preconceived notions that people should price low because there's so many VAs that are willing to work at 10 cents an hour, but those aren't good quality VAs to work with. Definitely, I would say if you're working for 10 cents an hour, you're probably not a great quality VA. There are certainly very low cost VAs out there right now, because I think in a lot of places, particularly the third world, people are thinking something is better than nothing. But what I'm starting to come up with, or kind of been considering and thinking about, is how we can utilize both the low cost VAs with the higher price point VAs to somehow find a balance for the clients as well. So again, that's something I'm going to be discussing on the 7th and 8th. For sure, there are people still absolutely going to be willing to pay normal prices. We had someone on the call last month where we were just starting to talk about Corona, and I actually lost 2 clients that week because of the Corona, because their entire business was based on people attending in-person events. And when you've got the entire world cut off, and you can't actually travel anywhere, and you can't fly anywhere, and you can't actually go to anywhere where there's people and crowds, they lost basically, like, the first wave was 75 grand of refunds, literally overnight. And then the following week was like $60,000 of refunds. And then they were just like, we're done, game over, you know, it's like something like that. So for me, it's like, yeah, I'm feeling this. I'm totally feeling it. And also they were my 2 biggest clients as well. So for sure, I think we have to rethink pricing, for sure. I don't think we can go along. But like I say, there is a lady last session who had taken on, I think, 2 or 3 new clients. Susan's laughing, says Martha. 2 or 3 new clients that week, but she had also, because those clients had particularly thriving businesses, but also for the clients who didn't, she also reduced her rates. So we have to look at this, not just on a hour basis now, but on a case-by-case client basis, depending on which category these clients fall under and whether we want to still work with them and do the business with them. So again, I think we're looking at something that's a lot more subtle than it was, very black and white back in the days when people couldn't interact with each other and life was normal and the economy was fairly normal. Now I think we're having to cherry pick a little bit more about how we serve and what we serve to that client. Linda says, sorry, I arrived late. Michelle, I can have a drink now. I was a virtual graphic designer for several huge clients that suspended operations until at least 2021. I can't show any unfinished projects. How can I pivot? That's a really good question. This will be the last question for this session. So, welcome, Linda. Virtual graphic designer, several huge clients. I'm guessing these clients were in the offline world. If you can't show any unfinished projects, you're going to have to start coming up with your own projects. Now, the first thing is to start coming up with, I don't know, Linda, perhaps you can tell me, are you an independent graphic designer, or are you hired on a contract with these companies, or were you actually actively looking for other clients, offline and very specialized companies? You're going to have to start rethinking. I don't think you need to show any unfinished projects or to show any projects or show any work necessarily, but you have to have a really good presence yourself, which should be fairly easy for you if you're a seasoned graphic designer, which is what you sound like. So you're going to have to start showing off your own business. Use this as a time to show off your own business. And what do I mean by this? In terms of your website, in terms of your social presence, in terms of the aesthetics of your business and what people see when they land on you. You can absolutely, and again, this is something we can discuss and we can talk about, but you can absolutely use COVID-19 as a way to say, I have a complete set of unfinished projects because I have not been able to complete them because of COVID-19. And do you know what? Everyone's going to go, God, yeah, that makes sense. no one's going to go, that's really iffy. You know, like, why has she not been working before? Or has she not actually done any work before? Or is she just like an amateur? No, everyone's going to go, okay, so what can you show us? What have you got? Start offering trials, maybe. You know, if you catch a really good potential client and they want to see work from you, say, okay, well, give me a job. Give me a job that's going to take me 2 hours, something like that, or 1 hour, something like that, you know, and I will show you what I can do in this time. Again, I'm just throwing out ideas here of what you could potentially do. You can also start looking for new clientele, different clientele, the clientele that are around right now, the 5 new potential clients that we're going to discuss on the 7th. You can start looking at those and where we're going to find those and what we're going to offer those. So there's going to be definitely work for you, particularly as a virtual graphic designer as well. You've already kind of got the makings of someone who can quite easily transition, Linda, if you ask me. Independent home fashion designer. Home fashion designer. Forgive me, is that fashion for people wearing clothes at home, or is that home furnishings fashion? I wouldn't, like, it sounds really fancy and I'm really not that fancy, so forgive me. It sounds like home fashion designer, like fashion for the home, like soft furnishings and curtains. As you can see, I don't have any. Things like that. Is that what you mean? Yeah, soft, okay, home furnishings, okay, bedding, kitchen, okay. So you're a graphic designer for people who sell soft furnishings and you like display their work? Is that right? Oh, okay. So you do graphic design for these companies for that particular area of their business. So I will go more now. This is personally what I would do. Again, this is just off the top of my head and I've not eaten anything all day, but I would definitely go more along the route of going to the more smaller independent boutique people, and then start maybe coinciding it with another VA who can offer services for like how to take their stuff online, do home deliveries, for example, e-commerce, ordering online. So like some of the smaller people that maybe had shops, for example, like home furnishing shops, or the designers who design cushions and bedding and all that kind of home stuff. The smaller ones that had the offline shop, start going to them saying, I can start, obviously they're going to need to take photos of their stuff and give them to you. I'm assuming, okay, I don't have much information about this, but I'm assuming, so we can start putting together graphics from their products, work in collaboration with a VA who knows about e-commerce or Shopify or something like that, because everyone's at home right now, but I still need cushions and curtains. So where I'm going to start looking, if I was in the first world country, I would look online. So we start thinking about how we can reach out, first of all, by getting them set up with the graphics, and then collaborating with another VA who knows the e-commerce and the online shop aspect of it. And, you know, like collaborating with the client, start saying you're willing to start doing deliveries. That could be either local deliveries, by car, where people kind of leave stuff outside, they take the payment online, they leave the stuff outside, or it could be like a pickup place. You know, like I had this idea, like I was thinking to myself, like if I had actual stuff I sold, I would like put it in a van and tell people to come and pick it up from one location every day or something near a supermarket where they were going anyway. Linda said she's not even considered e-commerce business. See, that's what we're here for, Linda, the virtual community. So yeah, so there, again, that's just a couple of ideas there that you can start working with, playing around with, about how you can start helping people sell their goods from all those closed shops that are on the high street right now. Where there's a will, there's a way, I always say. Rhyming. Okay, so last 5 minutes. Has anybody got anything else to say? That was the last question, but if you guys just want to throw in one more, I can do it. Best thing to do also, guys, you know, is if you've got anything that comes up between now and like the 6th, then please do just drop me an email, support@virtualmissfriday.com. I'm going to type this email address in here for you now. support@virtualmissfriday.com. Anything that you think we can weave into this 2-day workshop, do please do that, because I want to make it real sharp, on point stuff. We've only got 4 hours to cover quite a lot of ground. We are going to have obviously breaks in between and things like that, but I'm really interested to hear what your struggles and your concerns and your worries are right now. So thank you so much, guys, for coming. It's great to see you. Please do stay home, stay safe. Don't go out hugging people, even if you're wearing a mask and gloves in the street. And I really hope that I see all you guys, and tell your friends and tell your communities and tell everyone about the 7th and the 8th. And it's good not just for VAs, but also for potential clients as well. And hopefully it will start bringing VAs together with potential clients more in a more community sense as well, so we can start seeing how we're going to work together and help each other. And you know, we've been very much separate for a long time. It's been like stuff for the clients and stuff for the VAs. But I feel like now we need to get together a little bit more collaboratively and start working together that way, and coming up with more ideas about how the VAs are going to support and how the clients are going to move forward as well. So thank you so much, guys. Lovely to see you. Have a wonderful Wednesday night, day, wherever you are. And I look forward to seeing you all on the 7th and 8th. Bye, my darlings. Take care.